What is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. We're here for episode number 40 of the My Team journey in career mode. We have some things to negotiate. New sponsor deals coming in. We are not so fussed about those. I think I just re-signed for PSD. It's absolutely fine. But we do need to address the elephant in the room. That is this car. It has been severely underperforming for what is expected of a Season 3 car. We need to be fighting for the Drivers' Championship this season. With 2 DNFs on the bounce to start the season, it's not been an ideal start to proceedings. I think last episode was quite decent for us, but now we really need to ramp up the investment. We need to ramp up the upgrades, and that all starts today. We had a failed ultimate weight reduction upgrade for this last episode, I believe, and now we're finally addressing it heading into potentially the next race. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, we got 1,400 resource points to spend, which we will do so now. Doesn't look like we can do much in the way of sizable upgrades. We will get that ultimate reduction in weight hopefully in 4 days' time. I mean, if that fails with a 0% chance of failure, then I will really be unhappy. But it looks like performance-wise, we can't exactly do anything else heading into this next race. So we're going to have to potentially dip into maybe the reliability side of things, just to make sure we can get through to the end of this long 23-race season. Oh boy, this is going to be a mammoth of a season of career mode. Anyway, time for the Portuguese Grand Prix in Portimao. We're coming up to this track next up in co-op career mode as well, so this is going to be great practice for me. Not really sure what the AI is going to behave like, whether this is going to be an OP track for those guys, or whether it'll be a strong track for us. But with the upgrade, we have brought in that ultimate reduction in weight. It's actually, in my opinion, the best upgrade you can do on the entirety of this game. So it's about damn time we got it on the car. So we'll see if we can take the fight to some of the bigger teams. Hopefully the performance index doesn't tell the entire picture and we're actually able to be in the mix with some of these guys. And also hopefully the car will be a little bit more drivable. A lighter car is a more nimble car. That should mean, you know, less fuel burn. It should mean less tire wear. It means a whole bunch of things. Weight is your worst enemy in Formula 1, and we've gotten rid of a whole lot of it. So heading into this Grand Prix weekend, I'm hoping for a return to form for us. We got through all the practice programs we needed to, which was absolutely great. Time for qualifying now for the Portuguese Grand Prix. Please like and subscribe, but most of all, wish me luck. Right, I am praying for a good round. We need to be in the top 5. We need to start building some consistency, building some momentum, and putting pressure on some of our rivals. So that all starts here. Not really confident in the setup. I don't like the look of a higher rear wing setup than the front wing. To me, it just doesn't look right. But with the nature of the circuit being so undulated, high speed, you need a lot of rear downforce to just make sure the car can go around without spinning, essentially, and yeah, that's why we're running 8-9 wings. Even the rear tires on our first flying lap are already gone. So we're gonna have to make some adjustments to the tire pressures. We'll start off by lowering the fronts, and if that can reduce understeer, then hopefully that'll mean there's less load going through the rear tires too. I like to lower the fronts before I lower the rears. If I lower the rears, then that also mucks around the rear stability of the car. How about this time? We get through a little bit nicer this time. 2/10 up on our previous best lap. I did a cool down in between those 2 laps. It was the same set of tires. Got us through to the next session in P12. 2.3 seconds though off the pace of Sergio Perez. We're getting close ish to the potential of our car, and I am 2.3 seconds off the pace. Nico's still a second away. That's manageable, but me, I need to get good, basically. We are struggling with those tire temps, so that's something I'm going to play around in Q2 and in Q3 if we ever get there. But a lot of people opting for the mediums. It looks like the medium is a great race tire for this Grand Prix. Tire temps are very, very sensitive, so I can imagine why people would opt for the medium. And we're going to do the same thing. So here we go, right at the end of the session. We did a banker lap on a used set of tires. Got me in the 14s, which is just casually 8/10 faster than what Jarno Opmeer was doing in a league race around here not long ago. So I'm basically an F1 esports champion. Jarno, get good. But anyway, on the medium run now. It seems like a fairly tidy lap so far. This is compared to a used set of softs. So if we can improve by just a few tenths, try and sneak our way into the top 10, that would be monumental for our Grand Prix weekend. I think we've got a car that's good enough for like P8, P9, maybe P7 at a stretch. But we need to get through and out of this session if we can on the medium compound tires. Here we go through the last corner. Don't turn in too early. It's very, very easy to fall into the trap and then you run out wide on exit. We improve by 3/10, but it's not enough. It is not enough, and not by a long way to get into Q3. We need another 8/10 to beat Pierre Gasly in the Alpine. Ocon having a bit of a shocker. Similar distance to his teammate than what it is for us to Rosberg. So there we go. The time just wasn't attached there. A little bit of me, a little bit of setup, and a lot of tire temps. Potentially, or maybe just Season 3 AI OP at play here. So, yeah, again, struggle streak continues in Season 3 of Career Mode. We're always going to be faster in the race with heavy fuel, less load going through the tires, and I think maybe less tire temperature issues because we're going slower through the corners. That's what I'm banking on. But anyway, it's going to be tricky. We do have the free choice of tire. However, in the race, there is the question mark about whether it's going to rain or not. So, in my opinion, I say bring on the rain.
Tough luck there. It's not quite where we'd want to be on the grid, but chin up, it's not the end of the world.
The Formula One circus has made its way to the southern coast of Portugal this week, and it's preparing for what I expect to be a terrific race here in Portimao. Anthony Davidson joins me again for the race today. Let's talk about Benjamin. That was a solid result in their last race. Can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
It's always nice to come into a Grand Prix weekend on a high, but your expectations are based much more on your practice and qualifying runs. So it's the momentum from those sessions that they'll be hoping to carry into the race today.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Young superstar Max Verstappen starts from pole position, edging out Sergio Perez, who lines up P2. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Norris, Hamilton, Valtteri Bottas and Ricciardo, Leclerc, Sainz, Rosberg and Esteban Ocon, Benjamin, Vettel, Daniel Ticktum and Russell, Tsunoda, Giovinazzi, Lance Stroll and Marcus Armstrong. Gasly, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Mick Schumacher, Mazepin and Nicholas Latifi. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head to trackside for today's race.
Now that we've got some points on the board, let's continue this form and aim for another top 10 finish.
Well, I thought my reliability luck was bad, but Pierre Gasly has already got himself a grid penalty for this race. That's the first of the season that I've seen, and we're only in round 4. Round 4. Unless there's some kind of misdemeanor earlier on in the weekend, then that is poor form from Alpine. Anyway, time for the race now. It is going to rain towards the end of the Grand Prix, and with that in mind, I really am tempted to start on the hard compound tires. We've seen how much we've been struggling so far, even over the course of one lap. It looks like the softs are not going to be viable for us today, so the harder we go in terms of tire compound, the less of a factor tire temps becomes. It's easier to manage on the mediums, and it's almost non-existent on the hards. So if we can maybe stretch the mediums all the way to the rain period. Sometimes it strikes earlier, but it's not always a guarantee. We are on the approximate weather forecast setting. So I'm going to go for the hard compound tires and guarantee that we can go to the end of the Grand Prix, if we need to, without stopping before the rain hits. So that's what I'm going to do pretty much. We're going to do the inverse. I'm trying to do that. I'm getting there eventually. I'm going to start on hards, and then I guess we'll just put softs on at the end if we absolutely need to. That is, of course, if it doesn't rain. But I think we're pretty likely that we will need to switch to intermediate tires sooner or later. As well as that, we also like to lower the fuel in this car because, well, the fuel burn numbers are never entirely accurate, and we can always take out more fuel than what the game says. A lighter car is a faster car, and, well, you don't want to be lugging around the extra couple of kilos towards the end of the Grand Prix, especially with the rain imminent. So we're going to take out maybe 2 kilos of fuel, and we're going to be just under in terms of the race number. So we'll be absolutely fine. Few people on mediums, as we saw them qualify on in Q2, but otherwise the majority of the field on softs apart from myself and Dan Tictum on the hard. So here we go, ready for the start of the Portuguese Grand Prix. 5 red lights, and we are underway for a race which we are a little unsure about. We're heading into the unknown here as we head into turn 1, round the outside of the Alpine of Ocon. A few AI going very aggressive into turn 1, trying to hug the inside. Not for turn 2 though. And we take the inside. VSC deployed. Not really sure what that's about. I'm sure we'll get some answers in just a few seconds as we get up the inside of our teammate, Nico Rosberg.
Radar suggests some weather is going to hit in around 5 minutes' time, so stay on your toes. Dries seem like the fastest tyre at the moment.
Oh my goodness, that is a lot earlier than what I was anticipating. 5 minutes until rain. So this strategy of going onto the hards was absolutely useless. Well done. Well done, game. Anyway, I think we're going to get ready for green flag running at the end of this lap, end of this straight. Yes, there we go. VSC is now ending. We've got the run on Ricardo. We're still in the green. We're going to go around the outside here. Try not to speed. Otherwise, that is a very unwelcome drive-through penalty. We get round the outside of our fellow Australian. And now we are P8. P8 in this car is not too bad indeed. Just the Ferraris, the Mercedes, and the Red Bulls lurking ahead of us. Here's the onboard from Nico's POV. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to get Ricardo either, as he was very, very cautious on the start of lap 2. He probably knows he's got the pace on me. He's going to get me back, because you can see he's only 1/10 behind me. He's in striking distance, and already we're losing touch to the soft compound runners. Big surprise there. I mean, they're already a second a lap faster than me on the same tyre. On a tyre that's 2 steps harder, they're probably like, what, 2 to 3 seconds faster than me currently. But that delta will come down pretty dramatically the deeper we get into this race. Verstappen with a 16-0. What are we going to do across the line? A little bit of understeer out of that last corner, which is not ideal. Not getting the grip that I'm after at this stage of the Grand Prix. Here comes Ricardo up the inside. He's not really there. Oh my goodness, he's run over the yellow sausage. You do not want to be doing that. On sim damage, he might well have some floor damage now. Ricardo, what are you doing? What are you doing? You don't go for a gap like that. But he wanted to keep the nose in. And who knows, maybe his car's okay. It seems to be all right, as he's absolutely flying now. Got the DRS this time. And now he takes back his rightful position of 8th. Rosberg is going to be next on my tail, I would imagine. Anyway, fired up front for the leaders. It's the 2 Mercedes, Bottas and Hamilton. Leclerc looking to get in the mix as well. He's going to go up the inside of all of them and try and take the lead. No, it's not the lead. It is not the lead. What am I playing at? The Red Bulls are in control of this race. Anyway, Leclerc is ahead of both the Mercedes. Carlos Sainz trying to go around the outside of both of them. He gets Bottas. We knew Bottas would back out, but Hamilton, well, he's a bit of a tougher egg to crack, it seems. But, yeah, I think it's Verstappen leading. Norris in third with Perez sandwiched in the middle. So, yeah, they're actually breaking away quite a bit compared to the Ferraris and the Mercs. So quite a big disparity between those lot. And Bottas is in already. I'd imagine he's got some front wing damage after all the squabbling that was happening on that last lap. Here goes Rosberg on the soft compound tyres. That's no surprise. Even my teammate is on another level to me at this phase of the Grand Prix. Makes no sense to hold him up. We're going to follow him through if we can and hope that Rosberg can get in the mix with the big boys in this race. We're losing a lot of points in the Constructors, mainly thanks to me. Rosberg is carrying the team right now, and we need him to run his own race so that we can still be half a chance for the Constructors this season. That is going to be a tough ask. But anyway, the rain has now arrived. I'm actually quite thankful for that, even if it means my strategy is pointless because, well, my pace in the dry doesn't seem to be that great at this stage. 2.8 seconds to Rosberg, and he's pulled that out in only a lap and a half since overtaking me. Here's the battle up front, or just ahead of us. That is Ricciardo and Sainz. It is Carlos Sainz. You can see the soft compound tyre starting to wane a little bit now in terms of performance. Ricciardo around the outside. Sainz had to back off on a slightly damp line on the inside. And the Australian is through now for P7 with Rosberg actually phasing in quite nicely. Anyway, the other Ferrari is in. Charles Leclerc, P4 on the grid, P4 in this race. And he's gone on to another set of soft compound tyres. So maybe the AI knows something that I don't. Maybe they know the rain isn't going to be very intense over the next 10 to 15 minutes, but they're opting for another set of tyres. Their softs can't hold on any longer. Sainz follows in on the very next lap. We pretty much all knew he was struggling for tyre wear, and he's gone on to another set of softs. So I think Ferrari are anticipating a very short spell on a new set of dry compound tyres before the rain hits, trying to make the most of a fastest lap potentially. Red Bull have a different plan. They are going long with the hard compound tyre for Verstappen, our effective race leader. He's popped out 5 seconds ahead of us. Rosberg is 7 seconds up the road. So we are really struggling now for pace, the consistency, whatever it might be. We just don't seem to have it at this stage of the Grand Prix. Rosberg is now in. He's actually one of the last people to stop on soft compound tyres, so tyre wear looking pretty good for this car. He's onto the hards as well, so that bodes well if the rain actually doesn't come until the end of the Grand Prix. So Rosberg might be a half a chance for a podium potentially. If he can undercut those medium runners who are going to run long, then yeah, anything's possible in this Grand Prix. It's going to be very telling. Ricciardo versus Rosberg in this race. But anyway, for us, we're in no man's land right now. We're P6. There's absolute daylight to the car ahead, absolute daylight to the car behind. I'm just trying to manage my pace, manage my tyres. I really am struggling out of that last corner. It was heavy fuel at the start of the race, and now there's no grip. There's no grip through there. Even in qualifying, it was a problem of a different kind. It was the rear's overheating. I had no confidence through there. But now, yeah, the track is really starting to get a bit damp. You can see Perez coming out right in front of us. We managed to get underneath him and head up the inside as we get into turn 2. And that's going to be P3 now on the road for us in this Portuguese Grand Prix. If it does rain considerably enough, this is all for position. So that could be a move that gets me onto the podium in this race if intermediate tyres are required in the next few minutes, which they could very well be. So there we go. Nice little move there. Very lucky not to lose my front wing, actually. Perez has DRS. It's still dry, you got to remember. Gets up the inside. We're on the slightly dirty line, but it turns into the clean line as we get on the corner exit. Here comes Sergio Perez. He's boosting. Antonio Giovinazzi's out of the Grand Prix, but still side by side through here. Who's going to get the measure of who? It looks like it's going to be us. We put the big squeeze on, and we hold on for now. Heading into the yellow flag zone. That's a no-no, Sergio. We hold on.
Okay, clear.
I need a few moments to chill. I need some chill. Sergio, give me some chill and some space, please. We try to go side by side through there. Sergio was having none of it. He wants to wait in the wings. He knows I'm absolutely sliding around like Bambi on ice. He's just waiting for that mistake, I think, at this point, or maybe just waiting for that DRS. We are terrible out of this last corner. Look at the understeer. We're just sliding off the road. There goes Perez. The DRS open. finally open, squeezing to the inside, and he's just got the straight line speed on us. So that's probably game over, is it? No, he's overshot like we did halfway around the last lap, and we get him back again. What a battle this is turning into for a podium place in this Portuguese Grand Prix. Sergio going to fight back here. He's got DRS again. Round the outside this time. This is the position I was in a couple laps ago. And yeah, the wet line is not the one, Chief. He actually loses so much grip that he finds Charles Leclerc ahead of him now. So yeah, there we go. There's the replay. Mid corner, there's no grip there. And Charles Leclerc was just able to get a freebie there. Perez fights back on the next lap. I'm encouraging these two to duke it out basically, because that allows me to pull away. I had a bit of a moment there. Here's the replay. Into the second part of the first complex, and that was a bit of a squeaky bum moment. Oh, that's not what you need at this phase of the Grand Prix when grip is minimal. Having a traction loss like that. Anyway, it's now going to be Leclerc's time to have a go at me. I'm not going to go defensive into here. I'm going to hold the dry line. Leclerc just barges on through. And we do have the grip and traction on exit. Somehow we use a bit of overtake. It's side by side three. Another person is out of the Grand Prix. We're going side by side. Lance Stroll this time. Are we going to get a safety car? No, is the answer. And Sergio Perez is back through after all that. This is... this is ridiculous. I'm actually battling these guys for myself, but it's inadvertently helping Rosberg to catch up to this massive battle pack. Meanwhile, Hamilton has now joined the queue. Mercedes were way off before the first round of pit stops, and now my teammate is getting into the mix. You can see the grip is really fading at this stage. It's still not wet enough to warrant a set of intermediate tyres. It is really, really strange. So maybe the forecast was right in the end. Jeff knows best. The track will finally be wet enough in the final 5 laps of the Grand Prix or something. Leclerc now pits. That gives us P3 now? Are we P3 again? I'm not sure. We'll have to check the leaderboard. He's gone on to mediums now. And as has the Mercedes of Bottas. So that's going to be a short-lived stint on another set of dry compound tyres. The Mercedes and the Ferraris have not got it right. We're going to box this lap, actually. We are going to box this lap, and it's not going to be for a new set of soft compound tyres. It is, in fact, going to be the intermediates we're putting on. I've had enough of these tyres. I've had enough of these conditions. We're changing the strategy, and we're going to be the first one to switch onto a new set of tyres. I've been struggling this whole race. And I'm about to be gobbled up by everyone. I need to be proactive here. We need to be the pioneer. We're going to take a risk onto the intermediate tyres. The temperatures have been falling, and it's got to a point where if I stay out any longer, we're going to have a big crash. So into the lane we go. Intermediate tyres. No one else follows me in, though. Rosberg, a long way. In fact, a very long way off that little battle pack. I thought he was only a few seconds behind me, but that is, in fact, not the case. We're going to change the front wing. I was going to increase the front wing to 9, but we're going to set it back to 8 because we've been struggling for instability in this car. We've been struggling for grip, and adding more front downforce is not going to help proceedings. We need more rear downforce. That's what's actually been exposed in this circuit. I think we are one upgrade short on the rear, so that's something we'll need to target heading into the next couple of Grand Prix. But anyway, we're on the intermediate tyre, and we're actually losing touch to the likes of Bottas. We've lost about a second or so on this lap alone. But I imagine it's only going to be a matter of time before these tyres actually switch on. And I hope they do. Look at the understeer now. It's even worse than what it was before. Now it's the rear's overheating, much like it was in quali. I can't even make the corner. I can't even stay on the road. It's absolutely ridiculous. More people are into the pit lane for intermediate tyres. So finally, the track is coming to us. It's taken 23 laps, but we are finally going to be able to compete very soon. We're going to keep Sainz behind us. This is for a spot in the top 5 now, I think. I think we're in the mix with the Mercs and the Ferraris. We are going to be ahead of Leclerc. We're going to be ahead of Bottas. We're going to be ahead of our teammate Rosberg. So if we can just cool these tyres down somehow, we're going to be okay. But for now, we are absolutely struggling. 95, 96 degrees on the left rear. It's on fire. Literally on fire. There goes Science with the DRS. He's absolutely fine. This makes no sense. He's on dries. Everyone else is on inters. And he's stroking along like he's the fastest car on circuit. I don't get it. Up the inside we go into turn 2. That was audacious. That was very audacious. I thought if I go for it, we won't get held up by him anymore. That's another warning for track limits, unfortunately. Here comes Daniel Ricciardo up the inside on the intermediates. I just thought I'd go for it, to be honest, because in a matter of like seconds, I reckon the mediums are not going to be any good anymore. And we don't want to be held up by the likes of Sainz. So took the risk, and it seems to have worked so far. But we are struggling. We are really struggling for pace. Bottas coming out of the pit lane now in 8th. Perez is coming up behind us as well. We've got some very, very fast boys on our tail now. And these tyres need to start working now. It's by far Inter's conditions, but these tyres are just not switching on for me. And at this point, it's a bit silly. This is a bit stupid. Why are my tyres not working and everyone else's are? We've lost over 6 seconds to the likes of Ricciardo and Hamilton, who we were fighting when they came out of the pit lane only a matter of laps ago, and now we're just going backwards in this race. Rosberg makes a mistake. We slide up the inside into turn 1, and we take back that position, but for how much longer? These tyres are not switching on. 5-6 laps to go, and we might fall out of the points at this rate. We've got Leclerc, Bottas coming up behind us. Beyond that, well, we're in trouble. We are in a bit of trouble. The tyres look like they're finally switching on now, potentially. The true test, of course, is going to be the last corner. That really long high-speed right-hander. Thankfully, no warning there. We weren't going fast enough to warrant a warning. The left rear is starting to overheat a little bit, though. We can see there's massive back-end loss, and we've rejoined back into the path of our teammate. Rosberg is out of the Grand Prix.
Damn it!
Marduk Motorsport have collided. It's the Mercedes days all over again for Nico Rosberg, but this time, well, it wasn't. There was no malice there for anyone. I kept my foot in the throttle, tried to catch the slide, caught it, then overcorrected, fell back into the path of the racing line, and that was game over. Both cars are out of the Grand Prix. Or are they? We've still got a tyre attached to this car, I believe. Here's the replay again from third person. It's just the tyre temps, man. They're just overheating. The stability has not been there all day, but somehow we are still in the race. I'm so sorry, Nico. I am so sorry. You don't deserve that. Is there any floor damage? Oh, yeah, there is.
We think the underbodies incurred some slight damage, but nothing too serious.
So, a considerable amount of floor damage there for us. Yellow, I'm not sure if we got front wing damage. It appears that there's no front wing damage. The safety car has been deployed. We're going to come in anyway, change the tyres. I mean, we could probably do with a change of tyres anyway. Precautionary change of the front wing. We're only going to lose a couple of positions here. We're going to drop down to P11. Yeah, I think P11. There's a Red Bull coming out of the pit lane. We might be nearly a lap down. I think we're just going to get away with this. We're going to stay on the lead lap just about and only lose 3 positions out of this. However, we have a car that is severely damaged, and it's going to be missing quite a bit of downforce for the rest of the Grand Prix. There's the safety car, and there's the race leader. That's how close we came to going a lap down and essentially being out of this race. I should have been out of this race. I don't know how I survived that collision with our teammate, but there's Max Verstappen. We were getting the blue flags any longer, and we would have had to let him through, or we would have got a penalty. So, very, very lucky to get away with that. We are now going to stay on the lead lap. Vettel going very slowly. He needs to get on with it, because the safety car's not going to stay out forever. Michael's going to want to get the show back on the road here. You know what he's like. He wants a grandstand finish on the last couple of laps. So, yeah, we want to be in a position where we can actually gain some positions towards the end of the Grand Prix if there's any carnage. And there very well could be, because look at this. This is the train of cars behind Max Verstappen. There's about 50 million lap cars in the way between himself, Lando Norris, and the likes of Lewis Hamilton. Mikey, are you getting those lap cars out of the way or what? No? Okay, that's how it's going to be. So, we're probably going to get about 2 laps of green flag running. Thankfully, the safety car stayed out an extra lap, and it's going to be coming in at the end of this one. So, we are just about going to catch up to the back of the queue. We're going to have a go at Vettel, the likes of Sainz as well if we can. The lap cars are going to be problematic, I'd say, because there's a lot of them between us and the race leader. Away we go for the final sprint of the Portuguese Grand Prix. This is going to be a little bit hectic as we wait for the lap cars to get out of the way. Dan Tickton, Mick Schumacher, Mazepin getting in the way. It's absolute carnage at turns 1 and 2. No space for anyone to get out of the way. We get out the inside of a Ferrari and almost the Alpine as well. A bit of contact. There's someone up there going very slowly. I think it's Yuki Tsunoda in the AlphaTauri. He pulls off to the left-hand side, and we're going to have to dodge that rolling roadblock in a second. Up the inside of Ocon now. We're in the points once again. That's 8th place now for the taking. And this is the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix. Hopefully, for our sake, the tyres do not overheat. We are back in the game now by virtue of a safety car which we caused by taking out our teammate. I do not deserve to get points at this stage, but that's the predicament we find ourselves in. Latifi getting out of the way of Bottas. I think that might be it for the lap cars now. I think we might be home and dry. There's one more. There's one more getting out of the way. Bottas negotiating clearly on the start finish straight. It's Russell. Oh, unlucky. This is like an alternate universe. Russell in the Alfa Romeo and Bottas staying at Mercedes. What could have been if Bottas got good in 2021. Anyway, last lap of the Grand Prix, it's become apparent that we don't have the pace to catch up to the faster cars. I think we're barely going to hold on to what we've got so far with the floor damage. To be honest, it's a miracle that we're back in the points. Rear tyres are absolutely on fire, which isn't helped by now the floor damage, which has already made the car pretty unstable. So we're going to limp home. We are just about going to get 8th place. If this race would have gone on any longer, I think we would have fallen back out of the points. Such is our lack of pace at this stage. We got lucky with the safety car. Max Verstappen, though, has driven supremely all day to get the victory. Lando Norris home in P2. Not sure who got 3rd. I think it was Lewis Hamilton. We are going to get 8th place and 6 points for the championship campaign.
That's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Fermé.
Oh, dear. That team debrief is going to be something. Nico is not going to be happy. I'm sorry, mate.
They take the checkered flag then here in Portimao in what has been another outstanding Grand Prix. And talk to me, what do you think it was that sealed the win for them?
Well, they clearly have a car that comes alive in the kind of conditions we were dealing with today.
The drivers are en route to the podium as we speak. What a fantastic win for the Red Bull team. They performed exceptionally today, keeping us firmly on the edge of our seats throughout the entirety of the race. Congratulations to everyone at the team.
GG's to Max. He got the job done. He was clearly the fastest car in the dry and in the wet. This is a bit of a Red Bull track. Lando Norris did really well in the McLaren to get second. But if my memory serves me correctly, the McLaren is now the best car, apparently, heading into this race. So maybe that's to be expected of these guys. Ricciardo P4. Hamilton gets his way onto the podium after what was a bit of a shaky start. They lost a lot of ground, did Mercedes, off the start for some reason. Squabbling over the minor placings, it seems. But a lot of lap cars. Which ultimately decided the fate of the likes of Sainz and Vettel, and certainly affected my race for the better. 4 points for us today. That's 4 more points than probably what I deserved. I'm somehow so surprised that we were able to survive the crash and actually make something of a race out of that in the end. 16 points, 4 points clear of Nico Rosberg. He didn't deserve that today. Nico drove really, really well, and he was in the mix with the Mercedes and the Ferraris. So a shame to take a bit of a hit in the constructors like that, but hopefully he'll bounce back strongly in the next Grand Prix. But there we go, guys. That's been this race for today. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to see plenty more racing game content. Very, very lucky today, but we certainly have some issues to sort out. The big one being, I guess, just the tire temperatures. We were at the mercy of the tires today in pretty much all conditions. We weren't really able to fight, and yeah, it's very troublesome. So we need to get on top of it very quickly. We need to keep upgrading. There's a lot of areas that's up for improvement in the facilities and in the car development, which need to be addressed ASAP because the rounds are getting away from us now. Thank you guys so much for watching. I already said leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. I've got a very spicy special video coming out tomorrow. If you're watching this on the day, keep an eye out for that. It's a pretty good one. You don't want to miss it. So make sure you turn on notifications. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Until the next one, I'll see you next time.